From the beautiful city of Los Angeles, California, we bring you the Gimme Three Podcast.
Welcome back, cinephiles, cinema lovers, and movie appreciators to the Gimme Three Podcast, a series for cinephiles. This is the show where we pick 3 films under one theme, and today we're diving in deep, so take this as your official spoiler alert. I'm your co-host, Bella F. Stratus, and I'm joined by my marvelous co-host, Nicholas Ibarra. Nick, how you doing? How's your week been so far?
Yeah, week's been great. It's been busy. It's cooled off a little bit here in the beautiful city of Los Angeles, which I'm excited about. For a minute, I thought we were fully into summer, which I was not ready for.
Oh, me too.
Happy to report that it's cooled off a little bit. So we will not yet be consistently sweating through the season.
Yeah, I agree. I need to get my AC in my car is broken, so I'm dreading the summer.
Oh, you might want to quit life. I don't know what to tell you.
Right? It might just be over for me.
Yeah, it's
the end of the road.
I want to move.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, I'm excited for our theme today. You know, last week we talked about some fantastic films featuring great immigrant mother characters to celebrate Mother's Day. And this week we actually have another quite beautiful immigrant story, I must say. This week we're heading into the wondrous world of a sweet, intelligent little bear with impeccable manners and a heart big enough to love everyone he meets. That bear, you guys may have guessed it already, is of course Paddington. I thought maybe I'd go into some background on where Paddington came from.
Sure.
Michael Bond first introduced Paddington to the world in 1958 with a little book called A Bear Called Paddington. This was the first of 29 stories, with the last book coming out posthumously just a year after Michael Bond's passing in 2018, which is pretty incredible that these books lasted that long. But from the very beginning, Paddington quickly became a classic and beloved figure in British children's literature. Then in 1976, Paddington made his screen debut in a stop-motion children's TV series that enchanted British audiences and really cemented his status as a national treasure, if you will. Fast forward all the way to 2014, director Paul King brought Paddington to the big screen in the first live-action Paddington film that really launched a pretty global obsession with this charming and funny little bear. A few years later, in 2017, Paul King gave us Paddington 2, which was a true phenomenon in its own right, with many fans calling it one of the best movies ever made. People loved this movie. It was actually the highest rated film on Rotten Tomatoes for a month until film critic Eddie Harrison posted a negative review that dropped its tomato meter score to 99%. So now it's tied with Citizen Kane, which I just love.
There's a lot of funny statements about that.
Yeah. Anyways, last year the trilogy was completed, came full circle with the new director Dougal Wilson. Taking on Paddington in Peru, which takes our beloved bear back to his roots for one last adventure, for now.
I don't think it's one last adventure.
Yeah, we may get like 20 more movies.
Something tells me we'll be seeing more of Paddington.
Oh, I'm sure. But before we step into this world of big red hats hiding marmalade sandwiches, Nick, I'm curious, had you seen these movies before?
I had seen none of these films before.
Wow.
So this was a first time watch for me. I had not read any of the books. I knew nothing of Paddington other than that he was a bear and that he was English or had an English accent. Now I learned that he wasn't even English.
Right.
So, and I loved him. It's a great the collection of just feel good movies. They're very heartwarming. They're hilarious. Great for the whole family. Great for not the whole family too. If you don't have kids, I mean, I watch these. I don't got kids, and I was laughing nonstop. So it's a great series, and looking forward to talking about them.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. All right. Well, without further ado, let's start with where it all began. Deep in the forest of darkest Peru in 1957, a British explorer discovers an intelligent species of bears. He teaches the bears to speak and imparts the finer points of posh 1950s British etiquette. But most importantly, he shares with them the joy and wonder of marmalade. Just before leaving, he gives them his hat and offers an open invitation. Should the bears ever find themselves in London, they'll have a place to call home. Many years later, a merry little bear spends his days scampering through the trees and delighting in jars of homemade marmalade with his beloved aunt and uncle, old friends of the kindly explorer, of course. Unfortunately, a sudden and violent earthquake destroys their beautiful home, and the young bear's world is turned completely upside down. He must bravely venture on his own to London with the hopes of finding a new home. And with all his knowledge of London's manners, customs, and curious human ways, learned from this wise old explorer, the little bear arrives in London expecting a very warm and courteous welcome. But he's in for quite the rude awakening, as modern-day London is just a whirlwind of noise and bustle, where most people are just far too busy to spare a moment for a stranger in need. But with a little bit of luck, a kind-hearted family of 5 takes a chance on this bear, giving him a place to stay for the night and even giving him a proper English name, Paddington, named after the train station they found him in. Naturally, Paddington is very grateful to the Browns. We've got Mr. Brown, Mrs. Brown, their 2 children, Judy and Jonathan, and Mrs. Bird, distant relative who's lived with them for as long as anyone can remember, I think. Like, she's just kind of there. I don't really remember the connection there.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they even say it. It's just like,
just Mrs. Bird.
Yeah.
Well, on his first night with the Browns, Paddington makes quite the splash, literally. He accidentally floods their bathroom. So, understandably so, the next day they're kind of like, all right, Paddington, maybe we track down the explorer and find you a more permanent home. But, they've got no name to go on. All they have is this well-loved red hat that Paddington always has. So Paddington and Mrs. Brown set off to visit an antique shop owner. And it is there that they discover a clue. The hat has the stamp of the mysterious Geographers Guild. So mystery ensues as Paddington and Mr. Brown then infiltrate the Geographers Guild's archive in quite the ridiculous ruse. They manage to escape with a crucial piece of information. An explorer named Montgomery Clyde once led an expedition to Peru, though oddly the guild has erased all records of it. It's very suspicious indeed. Back at a dead end, Paddington's luck takes a turn for the worse when he crosses paths with Millicent. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Crosses paths with Millicent. A villainous taxidermist at the Natural History Museum with a sinister plan to add him to her collection of exotic creatures. Fortunately, Paddington escapes this first kidnapping, I guess. She breaks into the Browns' home, but in the chaos, he ends up starting a fire, which brings a lot of tension into the house and ultimately makes him decide to leave before they kick him out. But he's not giving up, He sets out on a mission to track down every M. Clyde in London, hoping one of them might be the kind explorer from his uncle's stories and perhaps offer him a real home. On the very last name of the list, Paddington thinks he's found his happy ending, only to discover a shocking twist. Millicent is Millicent Clyde, the great explorer Montgomery Clyde's daughter. She reveals that her father's name was stricken from the archives after he refused to bring back a Peruvian bear specimen for the museum. And Millicent has been hell-bent on restoring her family's legacy, and she thinks by capturing Paddington, stuffing him, and claiming him as her own discovery in the Natural History Museum, that will make all her dreams come true. So she's awful. But, as it always goes, just when all seems lost, the Browns swoop in to save the day, rescuing Paddington from very dreadful fate. And in the end, justice is served. Paddington officially, Millicent is sentenced to community service at a petting zoo, might I add. And the Browns officially welcome Paddington into their family for good. Oh, all right. So there it is. A full recap of the first film. So you guys have everything you need to understand this little bear.
The in-depth plot of Paddington.
The in-depth plot. Yes. And as I mentioned in the intro, this first film was directed by Paul King. And as I should have mentioned cast. So Paddington is voiced by Ben Whishaw. Great voiceover. Hugh Bonneville plays Mr. Brown. Sally Hawkins, who I absolutely adore, plays Mrs. Brown. We've got Madeline Harris and Samuel Jocelyn as the two children. The incredible Julie Walters as Mrs. Bird. And Nicole Kidman is the evil Millicent Clyde, of course. So before getting into my own thoughts, Nick, what did you think of the first Paddington film?
Yeah, I really loved it. It was very funny. It moves like a freight train. I mean, in the first 10 minutes, you have the prologue that sets up the backstory with the explorer. You get the introduction to Paddington and the aunt and uncle and what their like day-to-day lives in Peru are like. You get the earthquake, and this is all like within a 10-minute span. And he's like off to London within the first 10 minutes. So it's tremendously lean. It's very stylish, which we'll get into. Creative as hell, and just impressive what they're able to do with like the mix of live action and CGI animation with this bear. So overall, just a really enjoyable, feel good experience that is like a movie that you could just like, if you're feeling blue, throw this one on and it'll perk you right up.
It's so true. It's so feel good. And yeah, it's definitely a great example of like a successful live action movie that's where it works. It works so well. Like you don't even when I'm watching this movie, I'm not constantly thinking about how like he's not there, like, which is also a testament to the performances of the people in this film. Mm-hmm. Like I truly believe their connection to this CGI bear, animated bear.
Yeah. I was trying to like think about it at one point. I was like, I wonder if they have like somebody there, like a child actor or a little person or something, as kind of like they used to do that, like George Lucas would do that, and like the Star Wars things, like with Jar Jar Binks, he had like an actor kind of like walking, but no, they just completely CGI'd him in. So,
oh wow, that's impressive. Yeah. You also mentioned the style. I'm obsessed with like the storybook style and aesthetic of these movies. I think it's so brilliant because it's executed in a way that feels kind of like vintage and nostalgic, and is like a great kind of tribute to its storybook origin. But at the same time, it feels so, like we're talking about with the animation, it feels so inventive and modern, and with the live action animation, and then like the stylistic storytelling, of course. Like it's just, I think it's a really exciting and captivating blend. Like I'm just in it the whole time, and I think it makes it fun for audiences of all ages to watch as well, like you mentioned.
Yeah, like there's one point where Paddington is writing a letter to Aunt Lucy, and he's describing all of the family members of the Browns, and the camera kind of pulls back, and it looks like a little bit of a dollhouse, and we go through each room of the characters, and in each room we're like learning something about that specific character, their backstory, what they want, what they desire, and then it goes into another room. It's very creative. It like you said, feels very storybook. It has a bit of like a Wes Anderson type style to it, but a little bit more charming and a little bit like faster pace,
Yeah. I'm laughing because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, it's kind of like Wes Anderson, but better.
It's just like it's
It's more interesting. No,
Wes
I'm sorry. I
Anderson's
have mixed feelings with Wes Anderson.
sure. It's like it's with Anderson. It's like the styles leading the charge. I think in this film, it's like the heart is leading the charge, and the heart just happens to
Mm.
be super stylized.
Yeah, yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, lots of like really creative touches. Like there's also this beautiful painting in the stairwell of the house along the walls that's of a
Yeah.
tree, and depending on the mood of the family, the tree will either be covered in life and leaves and foliage, or sometimes when the family's feeling blue, like the leaves will flutter away and it'll be just kind of like barren. So lots of really fun touches like that just
Yeah.
is like, this is, in addition to it being funny and heartwarming and a lovely story, it's like really pretty to look at.
Yes, I totally agree. I also love the way it's shot.
Mm-hmm.
I think the camera movement in this movie is just so much fun because it kind of, I was trying to like figure out how to describe it. I feel like it has almost like a POV quality to it sometimes. Like it's kind of simple. It's a lot of like tilts and pans to kind of make you feel like you're in the room, or like sometimes it almost is like making you feel like you're Paddington himself. Like he's like, you're looking up at the Browns and then panning back and forth like throughout the conversation. But then other times it's like swinging around and like lots of Dutch angles. Like it's so full of life and fun.
Yeah.
And really makes it so there's just like never a dull moment in the film, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. And Nicole Kidman is just fantastic as the villain in this. I loved seeing her as a bit more cheeky and over the top, and you know, she's obviously a wonderful actor who does a lot of serious films, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun to watch her just do something silly and just like she apparently is like a huge fan of Paddington the books. Like her agent
really?
was pitched, you know, her being in Paddington, and her agent was like, "Oh man," the agent almost didn't even tell Nicole Kidman about it, and they just happened to like drop it casually in conversation, and Nicole Kidman is like, "What? Paddington? Yeah, absolutely, I want to do Paddington." So it just goes to show, agents, once again, my God, what are they good for? Absolutely nothing. But yeah, she was a huge fan of Paddington, and this was like the first kids movie that she did since having her kids with what's her husband, Keith Urban.
Urban, yeah. Oh, that's so sweet.
So
she
plays
like the villain.
Yeah, they were so excited because they thought that she was gonna be Mrs. Brown, and then they were like horrified when she told the kids, like, actually, I'm gonna play the villain in this movie. But at least they got to watch her mom for
that is so cute.
But she's hilarious in this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So funny. And like such a great villain too. I love her costumes in this movie too. Like when we're first introduced to her, she's got this like doctor scientist like all white suit kind of thing going on, and the sharp cunty blonde bob. Yeah. Like she looks like she drinks a lot of milk, which is like always a sign of a bad guy.
Right.
And then when she's like breaking in to the Browns to get Paddington, she's got this like snakeskin bodysuit on. I'm just like, let's go. So awesome.
Yeah, and then there's just lots of really funny gags. Like at the the first time the family goes out with Paddington to try and find this Montgomery character, this explorer, Paddington's in the train station, and he's like, you know, it's all overwhelming to him. And the family just kind of like runs on the escalator without thinking twice. Paddington's kind of falling behind, and he's tripping out about the escalator. He doesn't want to step on it because it's like scary. And he's like, how the hell am I going to do this? And he looks at a sign that says, dogs must be carried. So he goes, oh. So he goes and finds a dog because he thinks that if he's carrying a dog, then it will be easier to go down the escalator. So it just hard cuts to him like carrying this dog, walking down the escalator. He's like, aha, now I get it. And then another sign that says, stand on the right. So then he's like carrying the dog and he just decides to stand on his right foot. It's like, I don't know. It's like it's stupid gags, but it really made me laugh.
I agree. Like, they're all so silly, but they made me laugh out loud. Like, I was just having a ball watching this movie.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite bits that's recurring, we'll talk about it again, is the hard stare.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. That first one, the way they do it it's just so brilliant because it's like, this bear looks so sweet and innocent the whole movie. But when he does that hard stare, his face changes completely and he suddenly looks like much more animalistic. Like he's kind of like scary.
Right.
It's like zooming in on him and like a dark vignette, and it's just so sweet. I that scene cracks me up every time.
I utilize the hard stare myself quite frequently.
Oh,
I'm a believer in the hard stare.
yeah. People have forgotten their manners. It's a good one.
Yeah,
It works.
it does work.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful picture.
Mm.
So wonderful, in fact, that I decided to pick up 3 pieces of trivia for Paddington.
I want to play a game.
Okay, Paul King, this writer-director Paul King. He's a smart man. He, for lots of reasons, but here's one of the reasons. During pre-production, writer-director Paul King attended several screenings of children's movies just to kind of, you got to see what makes the children laugh.
Right.
You got to feel the energy in the theater. Doubly smart, man. He brought his wife to all of these screenings also, so he didn't seem like a, quote, creepy loner. So smart in his research and double smart in his avoidance of creepy loner vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Sally Hawkins, who played Mrs. Brown, suffered from a concussion. During a night shoot, she ran into a crane on her way to set.
Oh my God.
Significant cut on her head, which they had to cover with a hat. And then even though she was injured, she continued working on the scene. She finished the scene, didn't see a doctor until the scene was wrapped. And then they're like, you got a concussion.
That's insane.
It's not insane. It happens all the time. I've ran into so many cranes and C-stands or something, it's just like
it's just there. They're all just there.
There's stuff everywhere, man. And then, you're just like not running. They always say never run on set for this reason. Don't run on set. Don't run on set. But then so you are running around figuratively, like you're going here, you're going there, you're doing this, you're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I just turn around and it's like, bam, there's a piece of gear just right in my base.
Oh my God.
Anyways, she made it out all right. Sally Hawkins. Wrecked that beautiful face of hers.
God, I know.
Okay, so Nicole Kidman did some of her own stunts for this movie. We're talking about Nicole Kidman. On her public Facebook profile, this is what www.facebook.com, where all the kids go. She shared a photo from her first day of filming in which she was hung upside down in wires that were placed, a few feet off the ground. And this wire drop from the ceiling. This is, I think, when she's breaking into the Brown home.
Yeah.
Very, very, very similar to the one done by her ex-husband, former husband, Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible.
Right.
And then, later in the movie, they do a take on the Mission Impossible opening theme.
That's right.
Not interesting, in fact, this piece of trivia, but I only mention it to tease the fact that next week we will be doing a Mission Impossible episode. So,
oh yeah,
because I am a master of the segue. That's what they say, master of the segue. So,
I love it.
And as a master of the segue, you always have to explain your segues.
Oh, of course, of course. Otherwise, how will they know?
How will they know? How will they know the brilliance? Okay, there you have it. Give me 3 pieces of trivia for Paddington.
I love it. Mentioning the Mission Impossible thing, I do love how these movies kind of will have little classic movie tributes in them.
Right.
One that I loved with Nicole Kidman as well is when you're first introduced to her, she's got all these like stuffed animals around her, and there's like this one shot when she learns that the Peruvian bear Paddington is roaming the streets of London. She whips around and it's like a low angle, and she's got this big stuffed bird behind her with its like wings spread like it's about to take off, or it's like scared. And it reminded me of in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, there's like this great shot of Norman Bates that's like the same low angle, and he's got like this stuffed freaky owl on the wall behind him.
Yeah.
And you're automatically just like, no, bad person.
Right.
Like, this is not a good setting. But it's so subtle, but it's so much fun. I love it.
Any final thoughts on Paddington?
I guess I have to note that I was so excited when I first watched these movies to see how many Harry Potter cast members are in it.
Well, the Harry Potter movies, it's just like they just had every English actor alive in those movies. If there's a movie that's taking place in England or an English movie, chances are it's going to have at least 2 Harry Potter actors in it.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And I think David Heyman, the producer of this, also produced all the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, there you go.
It makes sense. It's funny, both in movie adaptations of like, I mean, this is probably like the second biggest icon in British children's literature next to Harry Potter now at this point. But yeah, so I was happy to see my boys.
Nice. Paddington, it is available to stream on demand, or if you get this thing called Movie Sphere, because what the world needs right now is another streaming platform.
That was crazy. When I went on to Prime and they were like, yeah, you can watch this on Prime with Movie Sphere. It's like, what does that mean?
It means you pay money monthly and then you get some of these movies. And you know who's an idiot?
Who?
You know who.
Jeff Bezos?
Me. Because I paid for this.
Did you pay? You bought it?
Well, it's like it's $5. So it's like it costs $4 to rent the movie. And then I thought I saw Paddington 2 was on there also. So I was like, oh,
right.
Well, if Paddington 2 is on there, then I will have
it'll be worth it.
It'll be worth it.
All the
because I've earned the keep already. But Paddington 2 is not on there. So who's the goose? This guy.
Oh man.
Anyways, it's on demand, or you can check it out at your local video stores, which is better. Don't give any more money to Jeff Bezos or Google or anything like that. Go to Vidiots, go to Cinephile Video, go to Videotech. These are humans, mom and pop shops who are trying to make the world a better place, one film at a time. Go visit them. Paddington, check it out. That's going to bring us to the exciting sequel, cleverly titled Paddington 2. From 2017. It's directed by Paul King once again. He's back. Ben Winshaw is back as the voice of Paddington. Hugh Bonneville and Sally Hawkins return as Mr. and Mrs. Brown. And we've got a new antagonist, hilariously portrayed by Hugh Grant. So Paddington is now fully immersed in Windsor Gardens lifestyle. He's found his home with the Brown family, and he's a friendly, reliable neighborhood face. Most of Windsor Garden loves Paddington. He's lovable. He's got his, innocent charm. He's just so damn friendly. But there's another new charmer in the neighborhood. Famed actor Phoenix Buchanan, played by Hugh Grant. But, Paddington's Aunt Lucy is coming up on her 100th birthday. And Paddington wants to get her something special. So he returns to, the neighborhood antique shop, and he picks out this vibrant pop-up book that highlights all the wonderful landmarks that London has to offer. Because, Aunt Lucy always wanted to go to London. Like the explorer Montgomery invited them, and that was their plan, but they ended up not going because why? They had to raise this cub that they found that was Paddington. But Mr. Gruber, the guy who runs the antique shop, he tells Paddington, this book is really, it's an artifact and it's quite pricey. So Paddington's got to get a job as a window cleaner to pay for this book. And just as he's about to have enough money to purchase this pop-up book for his Aunt Lucy's 100th birthday, Paddington spots a thief breaking into the antique shop, stealing this pop-up book. Paddington goes on hot pursuit to try and catch this thief, but the cops, the 5-0, they think it's Paddington who's running away after stealing the book, so they think he's the culprit. And there's plenty of evidence to support this theory. The fact that he wanted the book, the fact that there's paw prints all over, and there's even traces of marmalade.
Oof, rookie.
So Paddington is sentenced to prison. And the Brown family is trying to find out who really stole the book because they don't believe for a hot second that Paddington would have stolen this pop-up book. Meanwhile, in the Slammer, Paddington befriends, pretty much all the prisoners because that's just who Paddington is. But more impressively, he befriends the angry and scary prison cook Knuckles, played by Brendan Gleeson. He softens Knuckles by teaching him how to make his famous marmalade. Paddington 2, it features, prison escapes, foot chases, all kinds of disguises, comedy, and a heck of a lot of marmalade sandwiches. So, Bella, what did you think of the sequel, Paddington 2?
Oh my God. I mean, okay, I loved the first Paddington, obviously. So when I heard that the second one had not just like a lot of critical acclaim, but also has this kind of like cult fan favorite status at this point, I was like, there's no way. Like, there's absolutely no way it's that good. Especially, sequels are always pretty risky. It's hard to capture the same magic twice. But good Lord, this movie is amazing. I love Paddington 2. Yeah, I think it's deserving of the hype. I think, first of all, the screenplay is just fantastic. I love the central mystery, like making the pop-up book a secret treasure map.
Yeah, right.
And like the little lady hidden on each page pointing to the next clue. It's so creative.
It's really creative.
Yeah, and it's like it also opens the door for some of the most like whimsical, visually rich moments in I think the whole trilogy. Like, it's just, there's so much to play with in this movie. And the whole story, like from beginning to end, just feels incredibly balanced. Like,
yeah.
Even though it's technically a kid's movie, and yes, some of or most of the twists are pretty obvious, like the mystery still works. There are still so many little touches that make it genuinely satisfying, like even for adults, because the plot unfolds in a way that just feels so natural and so right. Like, they make all the right choices of what happens next, even if you didn't know that's what you wanted. Like, I never felt myself going, "Ugh, missed opportunity," or like, "Wait, why would they do that?" Every beat just clicks into place.
Yeah, it's really tight screenplay wise, and the character of Paddington is so locked in from a character emotional standpoint, but also just like the animation of Paddington is so locked in here as well. Like they've really improved, which I mean, in the original is already great, but he looks even better in this one. The animators deliver some like outstanding expressions with Paddington that, you know, sometimes they'll make you like laugh out loud. Sometimes he'll break your heart just from a look or an expression or a glint in his eye. And like the first one, there's just like this really cool sense of style. And some of it is even more elaborate in this one. My favorite sequence is when Paddington is at that antique store early in the film. He's looking for the gift for Aunt Lucy.
Oh, what's this?
Ah, that must be the popping book. Very interesting.
Really?
You see, Madame Koslover's great-grandmother, who started the fair, was also a brilliant artist. And every time they visited a new city, she made a popping book to remember it by.
Oh.
And this is London.
We essentially go inside the pop-up book, and he and Aunt Lucy are like looking for each other, and they find each other and hug, and they're traveling around London together. But the world around them is like a pop-up book. So it's like everything's cardboard, but moving, and they're in there, and it's just really creative and beautiful and like breathtaking. It's like, man, what a fun idea. It's so awesome.
Right? Yeah, I loved when I first watched these movies, I was so shocked to see like kind of the mixed media of it all. And like there's another one that I love where it's like a cartoon 2D black and white animation of the villain robbing the antique shop. And it's just like a really short little sequence, but it's like how the antique shop owner and Mrs. Brown are like imagining how he broke in and what he went for first. And it's just like these little cutaways, like you said, where you're like, oh, that's so creative and so fun.
Yeah.
Just keeps it going.
And once again, you have another megastar coming in and delivering an eccentric and wildly entertaining performance as the antagonist. I mean, I love romantic comedies, but I don't know if I've ever remember laughing as much during a Hugh Grant film as I did during this one. He is terrific in this.
I agree. I like him as a villain more than as like a rom-com interest.
Yeah. He's so good. He's like he plays an actor who's down on his luck. You know, he's like he was at once very popular. By the time he's come to Windsor Gardens, he's kind of washed up, but he's portraying himself as somebody who's not, which is why he's after this book, because it's like, you know, the key to the treasure. But anyways, he's been doing dog food commercials to make ends meet. And they show one of these dog food commercials, and it's Hugh Grant dressed up in a full dog suit, like sitting at a fancy table. There's like plate of dog food gets brought to him, and just deadpan serious, he like eats and he's like, fancy. It's like it's so tremendous. It's like, oh my god, dude, like this dude committed. Like Hugh Grant committed and his character committed to this dog food. It's all wonderful.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I loved him in this. He's so funny.
Yeah, there's a lot to love here. All the prison scenes are just wonderful. Brendan Gleeson is great.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah.
That the hard stare with Knuckles is my favorite hard stare, because Brendan Gleeson is so good in that moment.
Right.
Your Aunt Lucy sounds like one of the most naive, gullible, mushy-brained. What's going on? Why are you looking at me like that? It's awful hot in here. Are you hot? I'm hot. Did I leave the oven on?
It's called a hard stare. Aunt Lucy taught me to do them when people had forgotten their manners.
You don't have to tell me about hard stares. I practically invented them. Pretty good for a bear, though. I'll give you that.
Oh my God. Also, their first like confrontation is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I love the way it's shot because it's just the simple, like, you know, Paddington's framed from the high angle, so he looks all small and vulnerable. Knuckles from the low angle gives him that like looming intimidate. He's like filling the whole screen looking down at Paddington. And then it like cuts back when they're like going back and forth about Paddington's like, hey, like maybe you should make some good food. He's like, oh, you don't like my food. I love when people say that. And he's like, oh, great. Like, I'm glad that we're getting off to a good start. And then everyone around them is like, oh, dude, you're so screwed. And I love the way they cut the cutaways to the prison guard.
Yeah.
He's just like deadpan into his walkie-talkie. He's like, call a medic.
Right.
Scratch that. Call a priest.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Great lines. There's so many great lines. I got Gimme Three quotes from Paddington 2 that I love. Gimme three of my favorite quotes that really made me laugh out loud here.
Oh, yeah. You know what time it is. It's time for some movie quotes. You know what gets me going? Quotes from my favorite movies. We're coming for you, baby.
Number 1. Mary Brown is really just on the full investigation trail in this movie. And she is suspecting hardcore this, what's his name?
Phoenix Buchanan.
She is suspecting Phoenix Buchanan really hardcore. And Mrs. Bird says, you know, I believe you, Mary. She says, actors are some of the most evil, devious people on the planet. I was like, yeah.
She's like looking right into the camera.
Yeah.
It's pushing in on her. It's like, oh, okay.
Mary Brown goes, are they? She goes, they lie for a living. Right? Actors are some of the most evil, devious people on the planet.
Said Julie Walters.
Yeah. And you know why it's funny? Because it's true. Okay, second favorite quote of the movie is when Paddington is getting sentenced to prison. The warden, there's an earlier scene. I'll preface this quote with an earlier scene where Paddington's, you know, trying to get some money so he could buy that book.
Yeah.
And for a short period of time, he's working at a barber shop, just trying to like tidy up and pick up hairs. But the Judge Walker comes in, Warden Walker, and he asks Paddington, like, I just need a trim. Just come on, let's do it. And Paddington totally screws up his hair. So anyways, Warden Walker, the judge, is now the one sentencing this poor Paddington Bear. So he says, Paddington Bear, 10 years for grand theft. And Paddington's like, oh. And then Warden Walker also adds, and grievous barbarly harm.
He was never getting over that haircut.
No.
Oh, I love it.
And then third favorite quote, which I'll explain why. One, it's just funny. And his delivery is great of it. But Knuckles saying, I don't do nothing for no one for nothing.
Yes. They're like, what?
It's It's great because A, it's just funny. It's a funny written line. It's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But two, the first couple times he delivers it, it's like such a, like, he's a badass, and you know, he's like so unpenetrable as a human. Mm-hmm. But the last time he delivers it, when all the prisoners are thinking about trying to go help Paddington, and he's like, no, come on, we got to get out of here because I don't do nothing for no one for nothing. And that's that last time he delivers that line, there's a close up on his face, and you could tell it kind of like, you know, he's feeling something. He wants to help Paddington. and they bring it back. And at some point in the film, you understand why Knuckles is the way he is. He says something about his dad, never believing in him or something.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So anyways, it's just like it's a really funny written line that is used 3 times in the picture, and each time it means something different. And that last time it really kind of like him saying it, really he thinks about what he's saying and it breaks through to him. I mean, that's just genius. That is genius stuff there. So anyways, there you go. Give me 3 quotes from Paddington 2.
Amazing. I have one to add.
Please.
That I just want to shout out. And it's Hugh Grant, Phoenix Buchanan, has dressed up as a nun.
Oh, yeah.
He's like fleeing the scene because the security guard from the first film discovers him like sneaking around or something, and it's a security guard shouts, "Stop that unusually attractive nun! Stop that stunning sister!" Like, stunning sister is
right.
Just I love it. I love it. I have to start using that somehow.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Oh, this is just such a fun movie. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you can't show me someone that doesn't like this movie. I guess.
What's his name?
I name dropped him earlier.
Yeah.
He's lucky I forgot it.
What's his butt?
Oh man.
Well, Paddington 2, it is available on demand. Not on MovieSphere though. So don't get swindled by that whole shenanigans.
That's crazy. They just have the first one on there.
They just have the first one. Don't be a damn fool like me. But
okay.
Yeah, it is worth the price of admission. It's worth the $4 to rent, or the $15 to buy if you want to go purchase the Blu-ray. Especially you got kids. This is one that you can just throw on for the kids time and time again.
Oh, yeah.
It probably won't get old.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you got kids, Paddington is such a great role model. He's so friendly.
Yes.
He's got such a good head on his shoulders, such a good heart on his sleeve. So
many great lessons.
yeah,
like for all ages, honestly.
Mhm.
Like reminders even.
Yeah.
Yeah, I needed that.
Absolutely. Paddington 2, check it out. That is going to take us to a quick break, my friends. During that break, you are going to hear from Gimme Three producer, LADFF director, and my wife, Sonia Maru, for a segment that we call Sonia's Movie Minute. So stick around for that and much more right here on the Gimme Three Podcast.
Hello, I'm Sonia, and this is my Movie Minute. I just got back from watching the last 15 minutes of the new movie Fight or Flight with Josh Hartnett. You might be like, wait, why did you just see the last 15 minutes? Well, last night I went to see the whole movie from the beginning, and the projector stopped working 15 minutes before the end, and they weren't able to get it back on. It was super frustrating. We were in the middle of the insane climax where Josh Hartnett is battling 20 assassins, and a flight attendant is rushing through the aisle with a chainsaw. Then boom, everything went black. I knew I wouldn't feel fully at peace again until I finished the movie. Getting caught with what I can only describe as cinematic blue balls made me think of the other 2 times I remember a movie shutting down partway through. The first was watching Look Who's Talking with my dad. I don't think either of us were particularly into the movie because I don't recall being super disappointed. Though, as I'm saying this, I realize that I still remember it 35 years later, so clearly it did make an impression. The second was watching True Romance with my mom. The projector shut down right at the beginning of the climactic showdown in the hotel. Well, in that case, people were very much into the movie and we all refused to leave. We needed to see who made it through. We needed to know the end of Clarence and Alabama's story. I remember it feeling like the audience would riot if they didn't get the movie back on. I also remember people smoking cigarettes in the theater, though I don't know that that really happened. Thankfully, that night, The employees did figure it out, and we all left the theater thrilled, with the sound of gunshots and Alabama purring, "You're so cool," ringing in our ears. Last night, they could not fix the issue, but I did get to see the end of Fight or Flight, and it was great. I mean, we all know how I feel about Josh Hartnett movies. Now maybe I'll go find out how Look Who's Talking ends.
It's the Gimme Three Podcast, everybody. This week's episode, we are discussing the Paddington trilogy. Before the break, we talked about Paddington and Paddington 2, and now we're going to wrap it up with Paddington in Peru, and that rhymes.
Oh, beautiful.
Paddington in Peru, directed by Dougal Wilson, a new director at the helm here. We got Ben Winshaw returning as the voice of Paddington. We got Hugh Bonneville returning. Emily Mortimer now portrays Mrs. Brown instead of Sally Hawkins. And we've got the additions of Olivia Colman and Antonio Banderas as some new hilarious characters joining the fray. So Paddington in Peru starts with a montage of the Brown family changing. You know, everybody's changing. Everybody's busy with their own lives, seemingly growing apart. And speaking of families growing apart, Paddington gets a letter from Reverend Mother at the Home for Retired Bears informing him that his Aunt Lucy is very, very blue, that she misses him dearly, and that's all she can talk about is how much she misses Paddington. So Paddington feels very bad about this. And Mrs. Brown, Mary Brown, says, you know what, this is a great opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. We get Paddington over there, visit his lovely Aunt Lucy, and this will be a great time for a family bonding trip. We'll all go. We can perk up Aunt Lucy and have a family bonding trip. But unfortunately, when they get to Peru, Reverend Mother, who's played by Olivia Colman, by the way, informs them that Aunt Lucy has gone missing. She is nowhere to be found. They have got to find her. So Paddington finds a clue on a map in Aunt Lucy's room, and there's a place on the map circled that's called a Roomy Rock, and it just says, start search here. So the Browns hire this boat traveler to go down the river, this riverboat captain, Hunter Cabot, and his daughter, Gina. This is Antonio Banderas, by the way. And Hunter, this riverboat captain, notices Paddington's bracelet and informs the family that this bracelet is of the lost city of El Dorado, a mythical place that is said to contain gold offered by ancient Peruvian and jungle spirits. So the way to get to El Dorado is to begin the search at, again, Roomy Rock. So it's like, oh shit, we're just going there anyway. So anyways, we start to learn a little something about this Hunter character also, that he is driven by the ghosts of his ancestors to find gold at any cost. Find gold at El Dorado, in fact. And, you know, Gina is arguing with him. She's like, forget the gold. Like, we've had enough gold searching. You promised me you're going to be a good dad. But he can't. He's so close to it right now. He can't deny this journey. He leaves Gina off the boat and he decides to go search for the gold in El Dorado now that he's got this bracelet next to him. There's a shipwreck, massive shipwreck. Hunter's off the boat. Gina's off the boat. Paddington and the Browns are lost in the jungle, totally lost. And the Brown family is starting to get a little down. And Paddington feels like he has let the family down. So he decides to embark on the search for Roomy Rock, El Dorado, and his Aunt Lucy all by himself. Bella, what did you think of Paddington in Peru?
Paddington in Peru. Definitely a different vibe from the others.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love Paddington as a character so much that I liked it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't exactly my cup of tea, so to speak. And I think a huge part of that is, you know, coming off of Paddington 2, There are expectations, whether we like it or not. And I do kind of wish that I was able to like I was kind of worried going into it, and I wish that I was able to like have not felt that way, you know, just expected something amazing like the others, because maybe those feelings also did kind of contribute to like me not loving this movie as much. But
your bar was high, maybe.
Yeah, my bar was high, and maybe it was too high, but I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I have like issues with it. I mean, right from the very start, like a literal excerpt from my notes was, "What the fuck? Who the fuck is that? Where is Sally Hawkins?" That like set me off. That really was just a rough start for me because I love her.
Yeah.
And for me, she's one of the best parts of these movies. Like, she is Mary Brown. And I love Emily Mortimer too. Like, she's great.
She's a great actor, yeah.
She's really great. And so she was a great choice for needing a sub-in, but like that was really tough for me.
To her credit, Emily Mortimer, I will say by the end of the movie, I totally was in on her being Mary Brown. I was thrown off by it at the beginning also, but I was also like, I watched Paddington 2 and Paddington in Peru in the same day.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
I mean, and you know, like I'd watched Paddington, whatever, 2 days or 3 days before that. So I was very like, if I had watched these, what did Paddington 2 come out? 2017 or something? And then Paddington 3 came out last year. If I had watched these 7 years apart, it probably would have been way less of a shock for me. But to her credit, to Emily Mortimer's credit, I thought she did a pretty good job. She had big shoes to fill. It's like kind of like a no-win.
No fault of her. Yeah, exactly. Big shoes to fill. Like, it's not. There's zero criticism of her. Mm-hmm. I'm just pissed because I wanted Sally Hawkins. But I also just, I don't know. I kind of felt like it didn't have the same strong style and like aesthetic as the first two. I mean, granted, we're in the Amazon rather than like the Browns.
The whole, everything's different. Like we're in
it's so different. It's so different. But at the same time, I feel like those first two films, when they did like depict Paddington's home in the jungle, it had this like magical vibrance and beauty. Like, it felt so immersive. And I don't know that I like felt that as much in this film. So that's something that kind of stuck with me. I was like, I'm not feeling it as much as like I was really feeling these other movies. Like my heart was in it. I was laughing. I was crying. And I'm not to say that it's like emotionless, like, or like empty. It's not. It's still Paddington. But it just wasn't, like I said, at the bar that I wanted it to be, I guess. Yeah. But I don't know. What do you think of the heart of Paddington in Peru, I guess?
I really enjoyed it. I think good. The first two films, explore themes of kindness, doing the right thing, the importance of family. Paddington Peru takes the familial theme to a different level, and it kind of explores identity, the search for who we are. It took me a while to get into it, I'll say that. Like, whereas the first two, like, I was like in right from the jump. But once I got into it, I was really into it. And once the themes started to become a little bit clearer for me, it made sense. And frankly, I'd say thematically, it might be the most ambitious of the three films. Like, this movie might have the most to say.
Right. I mean, you're doing a beloved character's origin story. Right. Like, it's gotta be. Yeah. It's gotta be big. Yeah. And deep. So it's ambitious for sure.
Yeah. So Paddington acting like this bear who doesn't really know where he comes from and finding his ancestors, and and the villain kind of being haunted by his ancestors. There were some really interesting ideas in here. I think a lot of those ideas would go over children's heads, probably, but I appreciated them. It was kind of interesting because it's like thematically very mature, this movie. But yet some of the parts of the dialogue and the performances were I don't want to say immature, but these are movies, family films, that made specifically for kids.
Right.
In the first two, I never felt like my intelligence was being insulted.
Yes.
Okay, you ever watch that show Blue's Clues? You ever seen that show?
Yes, I loved Blue's Clues.
So Blue's Clues, you got this guy, and he's got this animated dog, Blue, and this guy, what's his name? Steve is walking around, and he's talking to the camera, and he says, I'm looking for Blue. Have you seen Blue? And Blue's like right behind him, and and he's like, we're looking for a clue. We're looking for a blue clue, and it's got a blue paw print on the clues. It's like, where could this clue be? And even, like as a kid, I'd be watching something like, you damn fool. It's right behind you. Just turn around and open your eyes. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing me, I got a little bit of that, like not throughout the whole film, but there were just like one or two instances. I remember one specifically where Reverend Mother, there's like, she's got like some surveillance room, going on behind her. And Mrs. what's her name?
Bird.
Miss Bird is like, what is going on behind that room? What's all this light? What's with this electricity line here? And then Reverend Mother just goes, nothing suspicious here. It's like, okay.
What are we? I agree. That threw me so much.
But I liked it more than not. There were some moments that really, really, again, just popped me hard and made me totally laugh out loud. I got a couple of them written down here. One of them, the boat that they're on is about to go shipwreck because Antonio Banderas and his daughter are like off the boat, and they have like accidentally turned the boat into like this rock formation, and Mary Brown goes to this compartment that says emergency supplies, and she opens emergency supplies, and it's just booze and martini glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Like that made me laugh really hard.
Oh, so good.
And then earlier, Antonio Banderas, he's like having dinner with the family, and when he sees the bracelet, he tells them about like, oh, they say that this bracelet is like the key to finding El Dorado. And Paddington's like eyes go big, and he's like, El Dorado? Are you serious? Do you mean? And it does a cut to like Paddington just in front of like a Peruvian restaurant called El Dorado, and he's just like shoving his face with food, and it's like, no, not that. It's still got that like witty charm and that like and that innocence, and again, like the themes of it, I really, really loved and enjoyed. I was moved when he found his like his heritage, like his ancestor bears. I thought that was really sweet. And the last line of the movie, he kind of said, I don't remember it exactly, but he says essentially like, I'm a little of this, I'm a little of that, but mostly I'm just brown. And I was like, you know what, Paddington? I relate to that.
I got lost.
In finding me, you have found yourself.
Yeah, the end is fantastic.
Yeah,
I really like the end of this movie. You know what? You make some good points. You're making me like it a little bit more than I did.
That's good.
That's what we do here on the Gimme Three Podcast.
There are also. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, to your point, like I felt that the humor stuff, so like it felt kind of watered down compared to the first two. From like funny to kind of just stupid gags.
Yeah.
Which to be fair, maybe this one maybe works for children more than it does for adults.
Yeah, I think that's
So,
what it is.
Not for me. It's not for me. It's okay. I can respect that. But even like, not to be negative, but even like the hard stare, which was one of my favorite bits. It didn't. Maybe it's because it was the third time, but it didn't do it for me in this one as much as like the other two, like the timing of the other two. It just felt kind of like forced. But I would like to talk about like the two villains. We get two villains in this movie.
Right.
And I thought Antonio Banderas was great. I love Olivia Colman.
Yeah.
I think she's so funny. And I loved that she was like a nun.
Yeah.
Like that is just so good. But yeah, she was really great in this because she kind of confused me. Like I was like, oh, she's definitely the villain. And I was like, wait, maybe she's just like weird.
Yeah, right. Maybe she's
Like,
kooky.
kinda freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, damn, they got me.
Right.
They got me good.
I know. I almost thought I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to delete my note about, being treated like a fool.
Yeah. You're like, wait, I don't know what's going on anymore.
But yeah, no, she's great. Antonio Banderas is great. I did love the stylistic thing where he's like sitting at his table and the camera would like do a little 180 dolly, and as it would cross him, the painting of the ancestor that was behind him would become an actual like human ancestor, like talking him through, his internal battles and trying to motivate him to go get the gold and do the wrong thing. And the ancestors also played by Antonio Banderas, so it was that I thought that was really creative and really fun and like kind of dark. Like this one feels like it's, I don't know, it's an interesting movie because elements of it feel like it's more for kids, but there's also elements of it that are like kind of darker. Like
totally.
They do these flashes to nightmares that Paddington's having, and there's
they're scary.
And there's some other moments where he's like having some dream about Roomy Rock, and he's trying to find his Aunt Lucy, and he comes up to her, and she says something kind of foreboding. I forget what she says. Like, oh,
I think he's like, "Where are you?" And she's like, "You're the one who's lost."
Oh yeah. She says like, "Paddington, can't you see you're the one who's lost?" And then like everything around her goes black, and it's like, whoa.
It's really. I would not like to have that nightmare. Good lord.
Yeah. So anyways, like for that, like I don't know, I kind of liked it because it was like the film took some massive swings. And because they're going to be doing more of these, that would be my guess, because they make money.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of like watching it as an installment of a Bond movie,
Yeah.
It's just like, it's very different. It's just like, oh, this is like a full-on adventure movie, and maybe the next one will be, I don't know, who knows, a samurai movie. Like I have no idea what they're going to do with this franchise, but
I know,
it's fascinating. It's fascinating. It's definitely, I will agree with you. I liked the first two better. They just felt tighter. They just like a little bit more. They're less chaotic, less messy. But there's some interesting stuff going on in this one.
100%. I think my biggest issue is like El Dorado. Like if I have to watch another movie or TV show about El Dorado, like the treasure of El Dorado, it's just like, I think specifically in this situation, coming off of like the creative pop-up book Treasure Hunt, I was kind of like, you just gave me like an incredible, beautiful, an extremely creative treasure hunt. And now, and so like having this like mythical one, just, I was almost like, I kind of liked being in like this other world in a way. That's, I don't know if that makes any sense, but it just didn't. That was something I struggled with as well. But I guess it makes sense because he's from the Amazon.
Well, and it made sense, and it paid off because the treasure hunt was not actual treasure. What it was
True.
finding his roots, and
that's true.
And it was his family that was
and the oranges
and the oranges. It was an ode to nature.
Mm.
I also should mention that I watched this movie while high. So I was like, yeah, man, like we're fucking all like, this is where we come from, man. Like, this is it. We should just be trying to find our roots and who we are and be eating oranges, man.
Man, those oranges look so good.
After the release of the first Paddington, there was kind of a sideways effect in the UK. Like for 6 months after Paddington came out, like the orange and marmalade consumption skyrocketed in the UK after the release of the first Paddington, and everybody was looking up the best marmalade recipes and all that kind of stuff.
It's like the sideways effect.
Mm-hmm. In fact, I was so indoctrinated after watching these 3 movies that Sonia and I last night went to a British pub to get some. We didn't get marmalade because they didn't have marmalade, but I had just some bangers and mash, just to
nice
bangers, mash, Guinness, just
the full thing.
I had to feel a little jolly good,
That's awesome. I love that.
Shout out Robin Hood British Pub on Burbank Boulevard. Check it out. Great spot. Any final thoughts on Paddington in Peru?
No, I think that's it for me.
You could check it out on Netflix if you do want to check it out. And I am looking oddly. I don't know if this is a mistake, a glitch in the Matrix, or a glitch on Google, which is probably more likely. But I just typed in Paddington, Peru, Paddington in Peru, and it shows that in August it's going to be coming back to some theaters in the
re-release
in the Valley, but only morning show times. Again, August 5th and August 6th, it's showing morning show times at the Regal in North Hollywood, the Regal La Cañada. But again, that just seems odd. So if you really want to see it, check that out. See if it is actually happening August 5th and 6th. But if you want to see it on the big screen, or you got kids and you want to see it on the big screen with them, check them out. But one thing that for sure is going to be on the big screen is a double feature of Paddington and Paddington 2 at the American Cinematheque, the Los Feliz 3, Monday, June 9th, 7 p.m., Paddington, 10 p.m., Paddington 2, both of them back to back. $10 if you're a Cinematheque member, $15 general admission. This is, so the American Cinematheque, every year they do a film festival called Bleak Week, where they play movies that are bleak.
Nice.
They play them for a week long, and it's they play some incredible films. But this is kind of they're calling it Paddington's Bleak Week Marmalade Chaser. So it's just like something to kind of
that's awesome.
Clean the palate of the Bleak Week. Watch Paddington and Paddington 2 at the American Cinematheque Monday, June 9th at the Los Feliz 3.
Cute. I love that idea. Definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks for spending some time with us in Paddington's world. It was so nice to live in a world full of kindness and delicious sugary sandwiches and, just constant but gentle reminders to slow down, take a beat, and just really care for one another. Show some love, people. We could all use it right now. We hope you guys enjoyed our deep dive into the Paddington franchise. Let us know what you think of these films. Tell us your favorite. How would you rank them? You can scroll down to the episode description and hit the send us a text link. Or you can reach us on Instagram at Gimme Three Podcast. That's GIMME, spell out 3 podcast. Also, if you want to support the show even more, here are 2 really quick things that actually go a really long way. One, you can set our episodes to auto download on Spotify. You just tap the settings gear, toggle it on, and you're good to go. You can listen to us anytime, no matter where you are in the world. Two, you can also subscribe to our Patreon for just $5 a month to get bonus episodes, exclusive content. You know, if you're seeking some spoiler-free content, we've got spoiler-free episodes where each of us pick 3 movies from our monthly watch list and pitch them to each other and to you guys. You can find the link to subscribe in the episode description below as well. Nick, why don't you tell the lovely people where they can find you on the socials?
You can find me on Letterboxd, on Instagram, or on Blue Sky at Nicholas Ibarra. Ibarra is spelled with a Y.
And you guys can find me on Instagram at Portrait of a Cinephile, or on Letterboxd at Beth Stratus. That's just B and then my last name, F Stratus. Thanks again for joining us on the Gimme Three podcast, and we will see you at the movies.